Let me start with a question. What if your ability to teach depended not on your passion but on your postcode? Imagine being a rural teacher. You arrive at school early, you are ready to teach, you have prepared your lesson, but internet doesn't work. The digital material won't load and the students sitting in front of you, bright, curious, hopeful are waiting. Not because they lack potential, but because the system lacked infrastructure. This is not rare situation, this is the daily reality for many rural teachers. Hi, my name is Jess-Ky, and there's where our project EduConnect begins. Before proposing a solution, we listen. Through user research and empathy mapping, we identified several key pain points among the rural teachers. The first one is lack of the teaching materials, and the second one is one teacher teaching 4 to 5 subjects, limited internet access. But what stood out most wasn't just the technical barriers, it was the emotional burden. Teachers expressed frustration not because they lacked dedication, but because they lacked support. From our empathy findings, we defined 3 core unmet needs: reliable access to digital resources, affordable connectivity, a support network that reduced isolation. The problem wasn't motivation, the problem was access and structure. But during our empathy interviews and research synthesis, something even more powerful emerged. Many rural teachers did not complain about salary, they did not complain about workload. What they expressed most was a feeling of being forgotten. They felt disconnected from policy discussion, professional development opportunities, innovation initiatives. One teacher described it as teaching in the dark, not because she lacked knowledge, but because she lacked connection. This emotional insight reframed our entire understanding of the problem. The issue was not simply infrastructure, it was systemic isolation. And isolation compounds inequality because when teachers are isolated, innovation cannot reach them. And when innovation cannot reach them, students fall further behind. That emotional finding became the foundation of the EduConnect. During our ideation phase, we applied design thinking principles. We brainstormed widely about the portable Wi-Fi devices, solar-powered internet units, offline resource libraries, and teacher mentorship platforms. But we faced a major contradiction. Here is the challenge. Rural teachers need high bandwidth digital resources, but rural areas often lack stable internet infrastructure. This is where we applied the TRIS principle, a problem-solving methodology that resolved contradiction creatively. The contradiction was, how can teachers access high-bandwidth materials without reliable high-bandwidth connectivity? When applying TRIS, we identified a classic contradiction. We need high-quality digital education, but we do not have high-quality digital infrastructure. Instead of improving the infrastructure directly, which requires massive funding and time, we applied TRIS Principle 1, which is the segmentation. We separate high bandwidth tasks with the daily teaching tasks. The heavy downloads happens at hubs, daily teaching happens offline. Then we applied TRIS Principle 10, which is the preliminary action. Materials are downloaded in advance. Preparation reduces dependency on real-time internet. And finally, TRIS Principle 3, which is the local quality. Instead of one uniform solution, we design multiple localized support layers. This allowed us to transform a technical limitation into design opportunity. Innovation is not about eliminating constraints, it is about designing intelligently within them. We developed a conceptual prototype of the EduConnect ecosystem consisting of the shared community hubs, education-only mobile data plan, EduBox offline resource system, and smart sync and booking app. We simulated teacher journeys through this system. Teachers could book time at a high bandwidth hub, download materials in advance, sync resources to offline devices, and teach without interruption. During testing feedback simulations, we found what worked, which is the flexibility of the offline access, reduced data cost concerns, structured booking system, and what is needed for the improvement, which is the simpler user interface, and clearer onboarding instructions, and the scalable infrastructure partnership. And what is the key insight? Teachers value stability more than speed. Reliability mattered more than innovation complexity. Now, an important question. Is EduConnect realistic? Yes, because it does not require building new telecom towers. It leverages existing community centers, existing digital infrastructure, and existing education platforms. This restructure usage rather than rebuilding systems. From a scalability perspective, the hub model can expand region by region. The data plan can be implemented through partnerships with telecom providers. The offline EduBox models requires minimal hardware investment. These make EduConnect financially feasible, operationally scalable, socially sustainable, and sustainability matters. Because a solution that only works for one pilot school is not true innovation, a solution must survive reality. EduConnect is not just a digital platform. It is a layered connectivity ecosystem designed specifically around the real constraints rural teachers face. And let me show you what that bridge actually looks like. EduConnect works as a layered connectivity solution, meaning support does not rely on just one system. Because in rural areas, connectivity is not always consistent. So instead of designing for perfect condition, we design for reality. First, we introduce shared community hubs. These are local space equipped with a stronger internet access where teachers can book time to download teaching materials, access high bandwidth platforms, and conduct digital tasks that require a stable connection. Rather than expecting every classroom to have a perfect internet, we centralize heavy digital tasks to reliable community access point. It creates a dependable anchor within the community. Second, we provide an educational-only mobile data plan. This ensures teachers can access approved educational platform without worrying about high data costs. Connectivity should not come from the personal sacrifice. By limiting the plan to educational use, it remains affordable, focused, and sustainable. Third, and this is crucial, we created EduBox offline resources. Because we understood something fundamental, internet access in rural areas is not guaranteed. So, instead of forcing real-time streaming or constant connectivity, teachers can download materials in advance. They can teach fully offline in the classroom, with no disruption, no waiting for signal, and no compromised lesson. Everything later synchronized through a smart sync and booking app. This app allows teachers to book time at community hubs, sync downloaded resources, and manage digital materials efficiently. The goal is simple, reliable digital resource anywhere. Not only when the internet works, not only when the conditions are perfect, but consistently because rural teachers deserve stability, not uncertainty. And that is what makes EduConnect different. We did not try to build faster internet, we designed a smarter system around reliable infrastructure. That is innovation rooted in empathy. EduConnect directly supports SDG 4 quality education by ensuring equitable access to digital learning resources, and SDG 10 reduce inequalities by narrowing the rural-urban education gap. From an ESG perspective, there is a social impact which strengthens the teacher's support system, governance relevance which encourages the structured digital inclusion, and long-term sustainability which builds the scalable education infrastructure. Why does this matter now? Because digital education is no longer optional, it is foundational. If rural teachers are excluded from the digital ecosystem, future generations are excluded from opportunity. This is not just an education issue, it is an equity issue. If implemented effectively, EduConnect could reduce the teacher burnout, improve lesson consistency, increase digital literacy among rural educators, enhance student engagement, narrow rural-urban performance gaps. Over 5 years, this could mean more rural students qualifying for higher education, more career mobility, stronger local economies, because Education does not just influence individuals, it influences entire ecosystem. And when rural communities strengthen, national development strengthens. Let me return to the question I asked at the beginning. Should geography determine educational quality? Education proves it doesn't have to. This idea is worth spreading because it doesn't rely on unrealistic infrastructure overhaul. It works with existing limitations, it designs around real constraints, it listens to real teachers, and it builds solutions rooted in empathy. If we truly believe education shapes the future, then supporting rural teachers is not optional, it is essential. EduConnect is not just about connectivity, it is about dignity. It is about fairness, it is about ensuring that every teacher, no matter where they stand, can teach with confidence. And when we empower teachers, we empower generations. So that's all for me. Thank you.